Joining me now in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind, Dr. Carole Lieberman. All right, Dr. Lieberman, we've set it up for you. Can someone function like this for 20 years with an opioid addiction and be able to try cases, win huge negotiate settlements, win trials, and function in society as an opioid addicted abuser for more than 20 years?
Well, when he did have that head grazing, theoretically the suicide attempt that he set up, and he went to the hospital, they did find opiates and barbiturates in him. So at least at that time he had that. Is it possible? Yes, for 20 years. Of course, it depends on how much he was taking. A lot of times when it's more obvious that someone is having periods when they're on opiates and on less opiates, it has to do with not being able to keep a steady supply in them. When they're craving and they don't have as much money as he had to be able to keep buying it. But yes, over time there are effects. I mean, first of all, there are mood swings, and then over time there are effects on the GI system, nausea, vomiting, bloating, things like that. Also, people start breathing more slowly, and that means that less oxygen gets to their brain. But like all of these chronic effects can be very slowly building up. And I think part of it is that he was just so on top of his game before he started using the opiates that he was able to fool people.
What do you think, Dr. Lieberman?
Well, it affects decision making. It can affect memory, motivation, things that you would really need to have as an attorney. But he may have just had that in spades beforehand, and even though it was less, especially as time went by, it may have been imperceptible.
Broken trust, betrayal. Let's bring back in our guests. So, Dr. Carole Lieberman, how much of a leap is it for someone who would betray his best friend, his clients, his law partners, all of whom are his friends? How much of a leap is it from that level of betrayal to the ultimate betrayal, which is to take the life of your own flesh and blood, take the life of the mother of your children?
Well, there does seem like something is missing in him. The empathy, the connection, to be able to do all of these other betrayals. He's rationalizing, or he's in denial, or however he is doing that. Yes, you can make a connection between that and then his betrayal of his son and his wife. One of the things that strikes me, a lot of the people, Chris and the woman, Shelley Smith, and some other people who have talked about his betrayal, or they testified about various things. They cried about him. They would say that, but he's a good man. Like Shelley Smith didn't want to tell what she had to tell. What she knew about him. And so even though he betrayed them, they still have this sense that they want to believe that he's a good guy.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, thank you so much for joining us and your insight tonight. We appreciate it.